Update 1.13 is finally here for Modern Warfare. After 5 weeks with no patches, we are finally getting quite a substantial one, including a new weapon, new playlist updates, new store items, and on top of that, they've actually done some fixes for some problems in the game as well, including patching some weapons, field upgrades, and more. So we're going to cover all of those important notes in today's update in this video. There are going to be some little bug fixes that I don't cover, so if you want to read the entire patch notes, I will link it down in the description. But as far as that goes, I'm going to be covering everything that's going to actually affect what you play in the game in this video, starting off with the new items that are in the game as of today. So let's just dive into it because we have a lot to talk about and start off with those new items. Now, really quickly, before we do dive into the update, I just wanted to let you guys know that over on my second channel, I uploaded a story time video, something that I used to do on this channel, talking about some stories from high school. So if you want to check it out, it'll be linked down in the description as well, and I'll also link it at the end of the video as well. But without further ado, let's dive into the patch. So of course, the biggest thing that a lot of you are probably coming to this video for is the crossbow. So the crossbow was officially added in this update, and there is two ways of actually unlocking it. One of which is for free, and the way to get it is by completing a challenge, which is to get 5 kills in 25 separate games using marksman rifles. It's not a hard challenge, but it is very time consuming. 25 games is gonna take you quite a while to actually play. The fastest way to pretty much do it is, as of right now, playing team deathmatch. That's pretty much the shortest game mode you're gonna get, assuming that you don't get into a super campy lobby. But there is another way that you can get it as well. For 1200 COD points, you can basically buy the crossbow because you basically get nothing else with it in the store. There's a bundle that revolves around the crossbow, and like I said, other than that, you're really not getting much other than that, other than some calling cards and stickers and some crap like that. On top of that, it turns out that if you do buy the crossbow, you can level it up, but you can't actually equip any of the attachments you unlock until you actually unlock the crossbow by completing the challenges. So you can get it, but you just can't put any attachments on it. Which, by the way, looking at it a little bit more in depth, if you want to play the 25 games, getting 5 kills with marksman rifles per game, it's going to take you about 3.5 to 4 hours to complete those 25 games. Now, I will say, though, once you do unlock the crossbow, there are some pretty cool attachments for it, including explosive bolts, venom bolts, which are basically poison gas, and finally backburn bolts, which is basically like shooting a thermite grenade at people. So some pretty cool stuff, and definitely some good ways of taking out people with riot shields. After this, of course, another big one that was added in is 5 additional classes. Surprisingly, this is completely free. As soon as you log in and play today, you are going to get 5 additional create a class slots. So instead of just having 5, you now have 10. To me, this is a super welcome addition, and to be quite honest, I'm surprised we didn't either have to pay for them or unlock them by leveling up in some way. So that was kind of nice to see. After this, we have the playlist changes this week. So once again, we've got 3v3 gunfight. This one's here to stay for 1 more week. After that, they have added in capture the flag, which is nice to see. After this, we have shoot the ship, which is, of course, shoot house and shipment put together, and this is going to replace shoot house 24/7. I know some people like this, some people don't. And then finally, on top of that, Ania Palace has been added into Ground War. So originally it was supposed to be a 20v20 map. Now it's going to be 32v32, I believe, which means that there are going to be some pretty damn hectic games on this map. And the next thing we're going to look at here is some buffs to weapons within the game. There's also some bug fixes as well to weapons. You can check out the full patch notes down below, like I said before, but there's 3 weapons that did get buffed in this patch. So the first one is the Ram 7, specifically the extended mags on the Ram 7 got bumped from a 45 round magazine to a 50 round magazine. So a small buff, but it is welcome because I did use extended mags on this weapon. After this, we have the Mark II marksman rifle. So they increased the bullet penetration of it. Again, not a big buff, but it is going to help you in some circumstances. Basically, the problem with the bullet penetration on this weapon is it would make it no longer a 2-bullet kill, which is very difficult. So now it might be more consistently a 2-bullet kill through a surface. Not 100% sure about that, though. And then after that, The last one, and in my opinion the biggest one, is less horizontal recoil on the initial bullets of the FN Scar 17. So the Scar 17, in my opinion, is one of the worst assault rifles currently in the game, and it's basically because of the recoil mixed with a very slow fire rate. Now, if they've reduced the recoil enough here, it might make it a little bit more usable, but I still think this weapon could use a little bit more of a buff than this. Now, speaking of buffs, the biggest buff of this entire update actually goes to the trophy system. So what they did here is they increased the protection radius so it blocks explosives in a larger area. I don't think this was needed, but apparently they thought it was. They also decreased the radius and damage taken by trophy explosions. So basically when you throw a grenade at a trophy system, it still blows up, and now it blows up less and deals less damage. And finally, they fixed a bug where the explosion damage and effects wouldn't trigger for third explosion. Not exactly sure what that means, but it's fixed now. After this, we have a bunch of bug fixes for field upgrades. Most of them are super situational, for example, using stopping power rounds and C4 at the same time. However, one that is not is a fix for stopping power rounds not applying the correct damage boost to headshots. This is actually quite a large buff for stopping power, especially when getting headshots, because it wasn't working at all before, and now it is. The largest and final section of this update has to do with general bug fixes. Now, I'm not going to go over all of these like I said before, but I am going to go over the ones that are going to affect your gameplay. If you want to check out all of them, check out the link to the patch notes down in the description for the third time now. But the ones that are going to affect you, one main one is under the ground or wall breaches on maps. They have fixed a bunch of them. They didn't list out exactly which ones, but I'm guessing all of the main ones that you frequently see hopefully will be patched now. The reason why I am somewhat confident saying that is because Krovnik Farmlands has now simply been removed from the game temporarily, because I guess they couldn't fix enough bugs on it in time, so instead of fixing them, they have temporarily completely removed that map. I don't know how long it is going to be gone for, but as of right now, it is not in the game. If you're someone who is going for weapon challenges, one of the things that they now made a little bit easier is they adjusted the damage threshold for get X kills while injured to make it a little bit easier. So basically, I guess you needed to have a certain amount of damage done to you before this challenge would actually work. Now it should be a little less damage, so in other words, it's easier to get this challenge. The next one's actually a pretty big one to me because I didn't realize this was a bug. I thought this was just the way the game was. So basically, they fixed a bug that allowed player collision. Now, in this game, player collision didn't happen all the time, but often if you were looking through the same window as someone or going through the same door, there would be some weird player collision. I thought it was just the new game engine. Turns out it was a bug. It has now been fixed. There should be completely no player collision now, which to me is an absolute great thing. So this last one is a little bit confusing. It is players can no longer cancel their recovery state when sliding, but will always incur the standard fire delay. Visually, the player will still respond. So basically, beforehand, after you slid, you could kind of cancel your recovery state. This was something that higher skill level players could do, and I don't totally know why they're removing it. I guess they just want it made more fair for all players. I don't really see this as necessary, and I actually see this as something that's going to slow down the game a little bit. Maybe I'm crazy. If you could disagree with me, you can let me know, but that's pretty much what I understand from this one. And then finally, we have the new store items. The first of which is the Arctic Beast, which we already talked about. This is the one where you actually get the variant or blueprint of the crossbow. The second one is called Stone Warrior. This one's a bigger bundle where you get a character skin and then 2 new weapon blueprints as well. And then finally, we have the Lunar New Year bundle. This one basically has a whole bunch of nothing. A lot of stickers, weapon charms, and things that I don't really use. So ladies and gentlemen, that is update 1.13 for Modern Warfare. I tried to keep it as short and as simple as possible with all of the information that you needed. So if you did enjoy the video, I'd appreciate it if you did hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, want to stay up to date on everything Modern Warfare, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you have notifications turned on. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're